Hi, this is Dr. Cora Stack. I'm absolutely exhausted because I've been burning the midnight oil, doing edits and edits and edits and edits, thinking my edits weren't good enough. Why weren't they getting through? Why weren't they getting through? Why wasn't it getting through? Because I was getting a lot of people saying that people who were watching me online were saying, my speeches were excellent. So I was thinking maybe they weren't good enough, they weren't good enough and all of this. And I was editing and editing and editing and editing. I mean, the amount of editing I do, because I am an editor, so I know like what's required for perfection. So, so anyway, the Constitution. Just looking here at the Constitution, I hadn't, because people are asking about Article 11 and I mean, I could read this in 5 minutes if I had it, because I'm a mathematician, and I do a huge amount of policy work. That's where I've focused my work. But then people will ask you, they'll do the narcissistic behaviours by asking you questions you possibly can't answer because you haven't studied it. It's real narcissism, it's mediocrity in the extreme. Anyway, but not everybody's like that. I met very nice gentlemen and women on the tour, very nice people, really decent people at all levels, very nice people. So it's just there's always a couple of people who are this way, very arrogant, and there is no place for arrogance, in my opinion, in an organisation. It poisons the organisation, arrogance does. So the Constitution, Article 12, sets out only age 35 plus. Well, you got to satisfy that one. Citizenship and nomination method as eligibility rules, and there's no requirement for anything else. Not even a declaration of good character or similar. And I have an extremely good character. I am a person of exceptional morality and integrity, within the limits of my powers. And I am considered to be the Archimedes of our family. So that's how smart I am. But I'm by far the most modest. And that's somebody took me aside years ago and said, you're going to have to face incredible professional jealousy for the rest of your life. But I didn't realise that it was going to be professional and personal. So desperate, absolutely desperate. Everywhere I go, I'm told that there's jealousy of me, and I'm not paranoid. It's dreadful, really, because I don't wear. I'm very ordinary. I'm a very ordinary person. So incapacity is genius incapacity. That's an answer. That's an answer. Yeah, I'm pretty smart, all right, and I've been told it several times. I'm sure the High Court called me a brilliant woman, Seamus Noonan. Would we agree with Seamus Noonan that Dr. Stack is unquestionably a brilliant woman? Would that be enough of a good character reference? Seamus Noonan, who's now in the High Court, described me at a High Court meeting as an absolutely, unquestionably a brilliant woman. So I reckon we can trust Seamus Noonan. I think he's one of the straightest in the courts in Ireland. And I think his judgment was spot on the money. And those kind of people are the kind of people that have me going for president. The likes of Justice Mr Justice or whatever he is now, just Mr Justice Seamus Noonan, who in the High Court, in his last case in the High Court, described Dr. Stack is unquestionably a brilliant woman. So I hope that will sink in overnight with all the councils who are about to vote tomorrow about who should be the president, because there is no obstacle whatsoever to being the president, none whatsoever. And so I don't really have to complain to anybody. No, I don't have to complain to anybody, because I mean, there's no obstacle. I mean, they may not know the law. The Gardaí may not know the law, but sure, they're not lawyers. I've just found here. So if there's a few bits and pulls that have been, I can complain them, or I could just leave it there. It's not going to affect the future, but I can guarantee you, it's incorrect. I can clean up as much as I can, but I can't clean up. But there's certain things I can't clean up. They may not even be on it, so I don't know yet. So I was just so careful about everything that I was just exhausted. I'm suffering exhaustion with all the racing around. But I think if we take Seamus Noonan's view that Dr. Stack is unquestionably a brilliant woman. Now, going around all the county councils, was there one county councillor that said Dr. Stack was an unquestionably brilliant woman. Was there anyone at all that said it? Not one. Not one. But the High Court said it. So, so do we stick with the opinion of Mr. Seamus Noonan? It's an open court. Justice, one of the people I have great admiration for him, because he's as straight as the die himself, and he's not intimidated by women like me. Apparently, this is the story. He doesn't tear us down like other men do. He's not a narcissist. He doesn't tear women down. So do you think we should believe Mr. Justice Noonan? I think we should. I don't think Mr. Justice Noonan, Seamus Noonan, was telling a lie. So I think we'll go for this. You don't even need a reference of good character, but I think if we go for a High Court judgment summary from Justice Seamus Noonan, should who, on the basis of Justice Seamus Noonan, should be the next president of Ireland? That's a question for tomorrow's for people for tomorrow to consider. So I wouldn't go against Seamus Noonan. I wouldn't like to go against him, because he's one of the best in the courts, in the Irish court system. Absolutely, he's extremely clever. So as I said, I stood up and I said it's great to meet someone of the ilk of myself. And he said, I'm delighted that somebody praised my judicial abilities, of someone of your calibre, or words to that effect. And well, that was the end of that, and the actual issue was all sorted out by mediation and arbitration. So that's how it was sorted out. So after that, but I think it could have, well, it would have been better had it been sorted out before that. And I think the workplace relations, is doing a good job. I think that's the one place where arbitration is working, but still, the ordinary person doesn't have the resources if they're taking a case against a big institution, and so the balance of justice is still not right there. So I don't think that should be allowed. I mean that again is dodgy, because the workplace relations is public service, is paid by the public service, and again, to me, there is possibly a legal case there for saying that people on both sides should be entitled to solicitors, or else they don't bring any on either side. But of course, if they didn't bring any, the institution would have all the legal advice. They'd have all the legal advice behind the scenes. So it's a difficult one there as well. And I feel that that's another area where it hasn't been flagged sufficiently. I think that since the WRC is a public service, it shouldn't. All people involved in disputes should have equal representation. Particularly if you're up against an institution. But perhaps they are trying. It is the first step towards arbitration, and I think it is. There's a bit of justice coming out of that, or a bit of solutions, but it's not all about money. There's an awful lot more to work disputes than money. There's an awful lot of bullying, and it's ruining organisations. An awful lot of bullying and gaslighting, and what they call microaggressions, all that sort of thing, and that's horrific. And that needs maybe it's a really difficult one to sort that one out. Anyway, that's the story. So I think we'll take Justice Seamus Noonan's advice, or if we can, or we can just say it. It's not a lie. It's the truth. I was shocked really that someone of his calibre would describe me as unquestionably a brilliant woman, but I think he was right. So I don't think I have a problem with capacity. If the best judge in the country says that about me, and another judge, well, a few more judges, or not judges, or quasi-judges, calls me, well, I won't go into it. So they give me my right title, put it like that, if I had justice. So that's the story. Thanks very much. And so I'm well, maybe I blew the whistle a bit about being investigated, but I don't think I'm going to complain to any guards now. What's the point? There's no point, because I don't think so. I don't think there's any point in complaining to any guardie, so I don't want to bother with it, because I don't believe in. I believe that we need a change in this system, which is that we need to change from arbitration first and then to litigation. So if I got that, I'd be happy with that. So I also getting that affirmation from the likes of Seamus Noonan. Sure, that's why I'm running, because of Seamus Noonan. Sure, he spotted a fantastic, intelligent woman. You see, the others wouldn't because they couldn't. They couldn't. The ego wouldn't let them. So he hasn't a problem with ego because he's so bright. So he can tell the truth. Anyway, he's extremely smart, and I have to play him great credit for recognising. But I've been called several times, but not at the highest level in the Irish courts. So I mean, that's the he's now in the it was his last his last High Court case, and the next day he was in the Court of Appeal. So I have to express great gratitude. And I hope he doesn't consider this. I don't think so. It's an open court decision. It was an open court question. It was open court, so it's not confidential, as far as I know. So I think I take his view ahead of someone who's clueless, absolutely clueless, and he certainly isn't clueless. So we'll take the advice of Justice Seamus Noonan. And the way I was treated all around, the country, as if I was a nobody by the Kerryman and by people like this, that I knew nothing. And Norma Moriarty, was there giving out about, the calibre, the gravitas. Was she ever called a brilliant woman in the High Court? Very much doubt it. But we won't go into the small stuff. Or was any of the other people going, Gavin, or any of these people called a brilliant woman? Were any of those other women called a brilliant woman? No, I never heard it. No, I didn't. No, I heard they were smart, but I didn't hear they were brilliant. So there you go. You can all vote for whoever you like. But it would be nice to have the Saints and Scholars kind of person back again, in Ireland, in the top place, because that will give the right, a good message, a good message to everybody involved. So perhaps it's all just, a warning. Don't do this again. Don't do this again. Probably a warning, don't do this again. But I'm afraid, I am not going to complain, Cordy, to the Ombudsman. That is what I'm not going to do. That is absolutely certain from this now. That's what I'm not going to do. So thank you very much, and take care.